Hey everyone, ready to take a whirlwind tour of two absolutely beautiful Caribbean islands? Today, we're diving into Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. We're going to explore some vibrant cultures, uncover their shared history, and hey, even learn our very first words in Spanish. So let's jump right in. First up, let's meet our destinations. Now, they're close neighbors, for sure, but they've got some pretty striking differences. Just look at that population gap. What's really fascinating, though, is what they have in common. Both islands share this incredibly deep cultural foundation that goes all the way back to the indigenous Taino people. So our first stop is Puerto Rico, which people often call the Island of Enchantment. And to really get a feel for Puerto Rico, you have to understand this powerful idea of Boricua pride. It's everything. And this pride, it comes directly from the island's history. See, long before Christopher Columbus ever arrived, the native Taino people called their home Borikin, which meant something like land of the valiant lord. And that brings us to this word, Boricuica. It's what Puerto Ricans proudly call themselves. But it's so much more than just a name. It's a really powerful statement of identity that connects them right back to their indigenous roots. All right, so here's a little snapshot of modern Puerto Rico. As a U.S. territory, its currency is the U.S. dollar, and you'll hear both Spanish and English spoken as official languages. Oh, and a fun fact for you. The island's beloved national symbol is this tiny little frog called the coquí, and it's famous for its unique song. And hey, if you really want to sound like a local, here's your first word. If something is awesome, fantastic, or just plain cool, you say chévere. It's a total classic piece of Puerto Rican slang. Now this reveals something pretty surprising about daily life. According to one survey, a whopping 70% of Puerto Ricans list cleaning the house as a free time activity. That's way more than going to the gym or even just, doing nothing. Okay, now let's hop just across the water to the Dominican Republic. This is a country whose whole identity is just so deeply connected to its vibrant rhythms. It's the birthplace of merengue and bachata. So here's the quick rundown on the Dominican Republic. It's a representative democracy, Spanish is the official language, and they use the Dominican peso. And like we just said, it is world famous as the home of those amazing musical styles, merengue and bachata. But just as important as the music is the food. The national dish is a perfect example of this, and it has this really patriotic name, La Bandera Dominicana. So la bandera literally means the flag, and that's because the whole plate, with its combo of rice, beans, and meat, is meant to represent the colors of the Dominican flag. It's a huge deal, usually the most important meal of the day, shared with family around lunchtime. And of course, you need a Dominican slang word. If something is great, excellent, or just magnificent, you can say it's bacano. It's pretty much the local version of Puerto Rico's chévere. Okay, so we've heard about all this amazing music, food, and culture, but how do you actually talk about it? Let's learn the essential Spanish you'll need to share your own opinions on everything we've just seen. It all starts with this one simple question. ¿Qué te gusta hacer? Or what do you like to do? So let's check out some ways you could answer that. Here are some super common hobbies. You could say you like to jugar videojuegos, which is to play video games, or leer una novela, to read a novel, escuchar música, listen to music, or, given our destinations, how about ir a la playa, go to the beach? So how do you actually say I like? Well, in Spanish, you use the verb gustar, and there's one really simple rule to remember. If you like just one thing or an activity, you say me gusta, like me gusta el béisbol. But if you like multiple things, you just switch it to me gustan, like me gustan los deportes. See? Easy. Awesome! So now you can share what you like. Let's add one more essential skill to our toolkit, talking about where things are. To talk about location in Spanish, the key verb you really need to know is estar. It basically means to be, but it's the one you use specifically for telling people where something or someone is located. So for example, you might need to find la biblioteca, the library, or maybe el gimnasio, the gym. This kind of vocabulary is super useful for navigating any new town you might be exploring. And finally, let's look at a super simple way to talk about what you do. For a ton of verbs, like hablar, which means to speak, It's this easy three-step process. You take the verb, you drop that R ending, and you just add an O to say I speak. Hablo. It's that simple. And there you have it. In just a few minutes, look what we've done. You've gotten a real taste of Caribbean culture, and you've learned how to share your opinions, ask for directions, and talk about your own actions. That is a pretty powerful starter kit, right? So, you've officially dipped your toes into the vibrant, amazing world of the Spanish-speaking Caribbean. The only real question left is, where's all this new knowledge going to take you next?